And Annie, you said it's getting hot where you're at too?
Yeah,
Oh boy. Sorry.
yep, it's Scorcher.
Yeah, I didn't check the weather this morning, but it was 99 yesterday, and it's supposed to be up to 100 again either today or tomorrow. Um, Catherine, I have a story for you. One of my heroes is a British scientist. He passed away a couple of years ago, but I remember him saying 25 or 30 years ago. His name is James Lovelock. I remember him saying 25 or 30 years ago, because his focus was on atmospheric chemistry. So he's the guy who invented the machine that they used to measure the ozone down in the Antarctic and discover the ozone hole, etc., etc. And he said that the Sahara Desert is slowly moving northward into Europe. So Sicily, southern Italy, portions of Spain are already hot, much hotter than they used to be, and they're drying out. And he said that's just going to continue. So maybe some of the weather that you guys are getting there has to do with that phenomenon. I don't know.
Definitely.
It's also happening here in the United States. Annie and I went back to my hometown, which is just south of Lake Michigan in the Midwest, and we were there in the winter
Yeah.
for Christmas. I don't remember.
Uh,
Anyway, there was lots of good snow on the ground, so we actually went out and did a little sledding on some of the hills I used to sled when I was a kid. My whole family did. But there's no snow in the winter any longer. When I was a kid, we had really intense winters with a lot of snow. Snow up to here, and I'm not kidding. Now there's no snow anymore. But but there's no global warming. It's all just a liberal hoax, right? Okay, I've got a question for you guys. I meant to ask you this yesterday, but I have a real love of finding facts that are right in front of my nose, but I've never thought about them before. And when I discover the fact, which is usually so obvious, but when I discover it, I'm just gobsmacked. It really changes my way of being in the world. So here's my question: how much does a cloud weigh? How much does a cloud weigh? Now, I never thought about it before. You watch when you're a kid, you lay on your back in the grass and you watch the clouds. Oh, that one looks like a tree, and that one looks like a kangaroo or something. I never thought about it before. How much does let's just say an average big fluffy cumulus cloud? How much does it weigh?
Uh,
A lot.
how do you get it on a scale? I imagine if you compressed it with all that moisture, it would be a lot heavier than we think it is.
A big fluffy cumulus cloud, not a little one, but a good sized one. The weight of it is between 1 and 2 million pounds.
Yeah.
A cumulonimbus cloud, the kind of big thunderstorms that we would have in the Midwest when I was a kid, weigh over 2 billion pounds. Here's question number two: how do they float up there? How do they float above our heads? Why do they not just fall down on our heads?
Well, because it's made up of individual points of moisture that are not connected. They're just they're dispersed. So each one is floating on its own.
Well,
I imagine.
all right, yes, that's true. But why, if it's that heavy, whether it's dispersed or if it's concentrated, you're right, it would fall down to the ground. But it is dispersed, and that's a big part of it. But why does something that weighs that much, quote unquote, float? What is it floating on?
Air pressure.
Air.
Air pressure.
Well, yeah, that's the truth. The truth is it's lighter than the air underneath it. And yet we live in the air underneath it and we pay no attention to it whatsoever. So just think about that today while
So
you
how
read.
heavy is the air underneath it?
Well, exactly. I mean, the air underneath it, as I've said many times before, the air, we're essentially at sea level here, just a few feet above it, right? The air on my body, every square inch has 14 pounds of pressure on it. But I don't feel it. I never even think about it.
No.
And since I can see through the air, as far as I'm concerned, there is no air. But in fact, there is. There's enough air to float a 2 billion pound cloud or a 1 million pound cloud. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter how many millions of pounds it is, right? It's floating. It's just kind of interesting that live we live in our own kind of made up story, and it's perfectly reasonable. The only trouble is it's not true. All right? Does the sun rise in the east, Kevin? Does
It
it go
appears
down
to.
in the west?
It appears to.
It appears to.
The sun isn't going anywhere.
But that's true. But until about 450 years ago, very few people believed that. A few
Yeah.
Greeks. All right? For 300,000 years, we assumed the earth was still and the sun was coming up in the east and going down in the west because that's the way it looks.
And that sun is going 350,000 miles per hour.
Oh,
through
don't
space.
even get into that. Right? Do you feel like you're moving?
Yep.
The,
And we're
the truth is,
and we're rotating at 250 miles per hour.
and the sun is moving around the galaxy at something like 120,000 miles an hour.
No, it's
Galaxy.
350,000
What's that?
miles per hour. 350,000 miles per hour.
Add it all up, you're actually moving at like 1 million miles an hour, but you don't feel it. You don't know it. Now, what about in your body are you just not aware of? It just has never crossed your consciousness. Here's my last question, and then we'll exercise. Let's say you were in the state of Maine, and you were walking on a beach there, because they have really high tides in Maine, right? So twice a day the tide is going to come in, and twice a day the tide is going to go out, right? But that's not what's happening at all. This one I should have known, and I didn't know. Here's what's actually happening. Right?
The earth is pulling away from the water.
The sun and the moon exert a gravitational force on it, and that causes the water on the face of the earth to assume a kind of oval shape. And then the earth, which is round, turns inside the water. The water is not coming in and out, the earth is turning under the water, if that makes any sense. And I got that one from Neil deGrasse Tyson, so you can believe that one's true. All right? All this stuff is happening around us in ways that we just have not quite grokked. And it's kind of the same with ourselves inside. There's a lot going on that we it just goes,
Oblivious.
we're totally oblivious to it.
That's a good word.
So oblivious is a great word. One of the purposes of doing Qigong, silk reeling, and Fang Zhong Gong is to open our minds up and look inside at what's going on, and just start to do a little noticing and thinking. I can tell you this from my personal experience. If you go into this deeply enough, you will experience things that you have never experienced before. Now, I'm not even going to explain it, but it's there. You just have to pay attention to it. So my teacher, I can remember one day, he was watching us do silk reeling or the form or something, and he just went, "Stop!" And they said the rest in Chinese because he was a little pissed off. So, when he was pissed off, he would speak in Chinese. And then he turned into English, and he goes, basically what he was saying is, you all are not paying attention. And I'm going to imitate exactly what he did. Pay attention, pay attention, pay attention. This is gold. In China, when you say something's gold, you say it's of the greatest value. Pay attention. It's gold. All right, let's exercise. And think about a 2 billion pound cloud while you do this. And the other side. Lee circles. And reverse. And shoe circles. And reverse. And ping circles. And reverse. And reverse. And block. Okay, you can put away your sticks.
That was yummy.
Head rolls. And down to center and reverse. And down to center and back up. You know, I don't know that we've ever really gone over the head rolls routine here. The head rolls are actually one of the best exercises we do. Back in the day, speaking of silk reeling, Master Zhang used to say, and I'll copy him, right, because I heard this so many times, inside, inside, you big snake. You're a big snake inside. If you can get that feeling, you'll start to get silk reeling. And the head rolls that we do are a great way to think about that. First, we call them head rolls because we got to call them something in English. But don't get misled by head roll. What you're really talking about is your whole body and especially your whole trunk. You're going to be closing. Now you close kind of passively. It just happens. Right? You're going to close the front, close the renmai. And when you do that, your back is going to open. When you do this, take advantage of it. Very often, folks have some stiffness in their back, maybe up between your shoulder blades, maybe especially down at the L5 joint where mine is, for instance. This is a great way to exercise the spine by by closing it and opening it, closing it and opening it, closing it and opening it. So when you sink in the right, we're going to go to the left first, sink in the right leg all the way to the ground and give yourself a moment for your lumbar area to open up backwards. You're closing the abdomen just by relaxing into it. But it's going to open the lumbar area and the tailbone. Let your tailbone open. All right? And then slide over to the other side. Now the left side is open. And come up on the left side, up into your chest. And then sink again on the right side, all the way down to the base of the spine, over to the left side, up into the chest, and then sink on the right side, all the way down to the base of the spine, and then up again. So you can see that one of the main things that's going on is the relationship between the center chest and the lower back. Right? When you close, you just relax the front. You relax the chest and you sink into the tailbone all the way down. However, you should also have your head involved.
It's riding the wave.
Because your head's riding the wave. Your head, the skull, is actually an evolved vertebrae. So it's part of the spinal column. You want to get this involved, and here's the way to do it. You pay attention to the chin, underneath the chin, and to the top of the head, and it goes like this. When you're sinking down, put your mind on the lower, underneath your chin, and let your chin sink down all the way down to your foot, and slide over, and now come up to the top of your head in your mind, and lift with the top of your head, and then sink under the chin again as you go down. Lift with the top of the head, sink underneath the chin. And down to center and reverse. Okay, I'm going to add one more thing in, something that Master Zhang used to do. For the most part, Master Zhang was kind of hands-off with our physical bodies. And a teacher has to kind of be that way because you don't know what individual people are dealing with and you don't want to impose on them. However, he would touch us in this move to try to encourage us to do something. So I'm going to pretend I'm Master Zhang, and Annie's going to face that wall there. And she's going to do this exercise, and I'll show you what Master Zhang used to do. In fact, face the corner so they can see your back a little bit. Do the exercise, all right? Roll your head, quote unquote. He would take your shoulders, and as you came up, he would bend them back a little bit. Now he wasn't applying any force. He was just guiding a little bit, just suggesting. Squeeze your shoulder blades together. All right? And of course, as you squeeze your shoulder blades together, you're going to open your chest. So let's try a set, right? And remember to squeeze when you come up. Squeeze your shoulder blades together.
You can feel it all the way to the pelvic floor.
And down to center and reverse. And down to center and back up. So hopefully you can feel when you really get into this particular exercise, it's a really intense exercise. It's moving every part of the body, and it's actually one of the more energetic exercises too. One final thing, I want you just to go ahead and try this, and you can it's totally, I mean, doing this opening the shoulders like this is really important. You should try to do that. This one is just optional, all right? I like it, and that is you can do this exercise just with your hands down by your side and kind of roll around your hip joints. That's fine to do that. Rolling around your hip joints will encourage you to remember to roll your shoulders, that is, squeeze your shoulder blades together. But there's another way to do it, and I like this other way because it gets me a little deeper into my body. And that is just to hold your arms behind yourself like this, and just do it without any hands at all. And down to center and reverse. And down to center and back up. And I'll show you one little exercise you can do. You'll need a friend to help you with this. If you get a little stiff up between the shoulder blades, maybe you're writing a lot or you're working on the keyboard or whatever. Here's a little trick. And I'm going to have Annie again turn around to the corner, and just have your friend do this to you gently, right? So I'm going to take her elbows and just gently squeeze her elbows together, and then ask her to tell me, do you want this more or less?
More.
More?
More.
More?
More.
More?
More.
More?
Okay.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
And just hold it for 10 seconds and let it go. That will really open your body up a little bit. Okay. Let's do
Forward spinal.
sure, we can do forward spinal waves. I think we went over this a little bit yesterday, but start at the base of the spine, all right? Connect your feet to the base of the spine, come up your back, all right, up to your head, and then reach forward with your chin like you're gonna hook something with your chin, and come down again all the way to the base of the spine, and then bring the head up. All right? Watch my head and my chin as I do this. All right? Reach up, forward, and now I lower my chin to my chest and come up my back again. Down my front, under the crotch, and up the back. Down the front, under the crotch, up the back. Lift the head, hook with the chin. As you come down, let the chin, when you reach the crotch, your chin should be on your chest, and then come up your back. Okay, and reverse. Now, when you reverse, you go down the front. So you let your chin drop to your chest, come down the front, and then hook the top of your head forward and lift up with the top of your head, like you're carrying a book on the top of your head. Drop your chin to the chest, sink down, and come up. Sink down the front, under the crotch, up the back. And good. So if I had time in the morning just to do 2 silk reeling exercises, those are the 2 I would do. All right, is rolling the head and the spinal waves, using the whole body. You know, using all the tricks that I just mentioned, because it will do the whole body and it works your spine.
And it works your lungs.
It does work. It gives you a little aerobic. I mean, I got a light sweat going. It works your spine, and it works the cerebral spinal fluid, pumps it up and down in the spine, which is really critical for health, particularly for those of us who sit in front of computers, right? Okay, the wrist. And the other side. And double. And stretches. And the other side. And reverse. And the other side. And relax your wrists. And the ankles. And the other side. And rotate. And reverse. And the other side. And reverse. And close. And open. Close. And open. Close. And open. Close. And open. Doling. And touch the earth. And close your pores. Salute our masters and salute your classmates. Thank you, everyone. Guys, have a great day. We will see you tomorrow. A great cool day. We will see you tomorrow. Ciao.